Monga over one nation, one poll. But they have gotten it back from the BJP.
This dotted existence, they do not represent India. These roadblocks, this incomprehension is by the dotted existence of I dot, N dot, D dot, I dot, A dot. So this dotted existence cannot comprehend what India stands for, what India is.
Given the fact that the centre has formed 8-member panel to explore the possibility of one nation, one poll, all eyes will be on the developments this week ahead of the Parliament session. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
The Union Home Minister Amit Shah launched, in fact, sounded the poll bugle in poll-bound Rajasthan. He launched a blistering attack on the opposition bloc over the Sanatan Dharma insult by Udayanidhi Stalin. The Union Home Minister said that the people of the country will not forgive the opposition bloc for the Sanatan Dharma insult and that it will have a bearing on the 2024 general elections.
Union Home Minister launched BJP's Parivartan Yatra in poll-bound Rajasthan.
Burning question, powered by Maersk.
Ladies and gentlemen, one would say when you are selling a Mohabbat ki dukaan and that is your logo, your slogan, your idea of connecting with people, how can you be okay with the kind of comments that have been made by Udayanidhi Stalin? What is worse is that the Congress and the DMK together are working in an alliance in the state of Tamil Nadu. Does this make the Congress helpless? Does this make the Congress in a position not to call out its ally? Otherwise, what explains the utter confusion, the chaos, not just in the Congress camp, but also the INDA alliance bloc? And till now, Udayanidhi Stalin has neither apologized nor has he said that he is willing to take back his words in case those words have offended the majority of the country. We wonder why, but that's going to be our focus and we'll shine the spotlight on that big story that a lot of you have been talking about. But as always, we start with the headlines first up.
An FIR against the members of the different hills who are trying to create more classes in the state of Manipur.
The Manipur Chief Minister says FIR filed against 4 members of the Editors Guild for trying to create more clashes. From Shambhaji Nagar to Pune, it's a mega showdown in the state of Maharashtra with the Maratha reservation quota.
I still stand by whatever I said. The DMK party was formed for social justice. I will always talk about it.
Udayanidhi Stalin first attacked Sanatan Dharma, then when questioned, he continues to remain defiant despite all the uproar.
मोहब्बत की दुकान चलाने वाले लोग नफरत की पुड़िया लेके घूम रहे हैं। नेता नहीं, कन्वेनर नहीं, लेकिन नीति बन गया हिंदुत्व को गाली दें।
The BJP is hitting out at the opposition in an unrelenting attack. They are asking, why is the INDI bloc completely silent? A significant step towards a possible manned moon mission, the Vikram lander performs the hop experiment. And Xi Jinping to skip the G20 summit. Biden says unhappy with the Chinese president's absence. Sanatan Dharma, he said, is like malaria or dengue, and it should not just be opposed, but he said it needs to be eradicated. Now, these are words of Udayanidhi Stalin, the scion of M.K. Stalin, and someone who not just understands the weight of what he has said, but who also understands the implications. Now, is that the reason why, after many hours that he made the comment, the DMK officially is wanting to justify that comment? They say he said nothing wrong. They say the BJP right now is just trying to twist the entire comment because it suits their political narrative. But do remember, it's not the very first time that you're hearing such comments that many say also qualifies as hate speech that has been made by many people who quote unquote want to call themselves secular. Time and again they say lectures about morality, they say this is my hate speech versus your hate speech. But the problem, ladies and gentlemen, could get complicated. Because this is not just limited to what's happened in Tamil Nadu, and possibly Udayanidhi Stalin could be looking at, consolidating his particular vote bank in the run-up to the big elections of 2024. But the problem the BJP says is also about the mindset. The BJP alleges there is a pattern. There is a complete pattern of Hindu hatred. Not just this. They've asked time and again, why are the other alliance partners who call themselves the INDI alliance silent? Now, have they really been silent? We've spoken to a number of those opposition parties. Some of them have condemned the comment that has been made, but then a lot of them have begun to distance or indulge in whataboutery. Like Maratha Banerjee. The JDU, the RJD, not wanting to comment, they say keep us out of this controversy. But then there was a lot of pressure on the Congress to respond. The same Congress that many say also indulges in soft Hindutva in the run-up to every election. So you will see their netas, whether it is Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, doing a lot of temple hopping. Rahul Gandhi says he's a Shiv Bhakt, sometimes he tells us he's a Janeudhari. So the BJP says the Congress will have to come clean and tell us where they stand on this particular comment. The DMK is holding on to that position because they know they are the big brother in the state of Tamil Nadu, and clearly the Congress could be feeling helpless. But then what about the kind of damage that this particular comment by Udayanidhi Stalin could cause to the entire INDI alliance? The same alliance that speaks about Mohabbat ki Dukaan. Now clearly, if you are a Mohabbat ki Dukaan, you can't say this is my hate speech versus your hate speech. But unfortunately, that is the kind of situation that we have seen over the last few hours. Right from a Kamal Nath to a Bhupesh Baghel, who remember are trying to show themselves more Hindu than the other parties right now, that includes the BJP, to a Priyank Kharge, who's a minister in the state of Karnataka, who's defending that comment that has been made by Udayanidhi Stalin, to the central command of the Congress here in the national capital, that says, we believe in respect for all religions. The BJP says this qualifies to be a hate speech. So on this edition of The Burning Question, our attempt is to find out whether this hypocrisy, this whataboutery, is perfectly fine. And can such political parties still call themselves secular? It's been a story that has generated a lot of traction on the social media, so sit back and watch what has happened through the day. The comment first, then the defense, then a lot of silence that have come in from the INDI Bloc Alliance, and then we debate.
Just days after the third high-profile meeting of the INDIA bloc, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin's son Udayanidhi's remarks have put the alliance in the dock.
சிலவற்றை நாம் ஒழிக்கத்தான் வேண்டும், எதிர்க்க முடியாது. கொசு, டெங்கு காய்ச்சல், மலேரியா, கொரோனா இதையெல்லாம் நம்ம எதிர்க்கக்கூடாது, ஒழித்து கட்ட வேண்டும். அப்படிதான் இந்த சனாதனம். சனாதனம் என்பதை எதிர்ப்பதை விட ஒழிப்பதே நாம் செய்ய வேண்டிய முதல் காரியமாகும். I still stand by whatever I said. The DMK party was formed for social justice. I will always talk about it.
The Congress has tried making a case for Stalin's son.
Any religion that does not promote equality, any religion which does not give you equal rights, does not treat you like humans, is not a religion. So it's as good as a disease.
Actually, हमारा व्यू वेरी क्लियर है. सर्व धर्म समभावना. सर्व धर्म समभावना is the Congress ideology. But you have to understand, every political party have their own freedom to tell their views.
स्टालिन ने कहा कि कोरोना की तरह सनातन धर्म को भी खत्म कर देना चाहिए.
वो उनकी व्यक्तिगत राय होगी, हम उससे सहमत नहीं है.
The BJP is demanding an unconditional apology.
सनातन धर्म का के ऊपर भी चोट पहुंचाई जा रही है. इन्हीं के गठबंधन के लोगों ने, डीएमके ने चोट पहुंचाई है और इस पर कांग्रेस चुप्पी साफ कर बैठी हुई है. मैं गहलोत साहब से कहना चाहता हूं, आप क्यों नहीं बोलते? क्यों नहीं सोनिया जी बोलती? क्यों नहीं राहुल जी बोलते? क्यों नहीं खड़गे बोलते कि सनातन धर्म के बारे में आपकी सोच क्या है?
सनातन को कुचलने की हसरत वाले कितने ही खाक हो गए, हिंदुओं को मिटाने के ख्वाब पाले कितने ही राख हो गए. सुनो घमंडिया गठबंधन के घमंडियों, तुम और तुम्हारे मित्र रहे ना रहे, सनातन था, सनातन है और सनातन रहेगा.
Shameful silence by Rahul Gandhi is not only baffling but shocking, to say the least. Will you go to any extent in pursuit of your vote bank politics? This is also against hatred of Sanatan Dharma. I would like to gently remind all of them, Rahul Gandhi in particular, that even the hundreds of years of Islamic rule could not uproot Sanatan Dharma.
The top leaders of the opposition's alliance who shared a stage with Stalin last week are silent on the anti-Hindu remark. Does the INDIA bloc endorse anti-Hindu hate? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And also to note, remember, there are a lot of problems in the INDIA alliance and a lot of other issues that they do not stand and think like one. Something that the BJP has been trying to underscore of late again and again कि एक साथ तो आ गए हैं, लेकिन on a lot of issues they say, Charu, that they do not speak as one and their ideology continues to shift according to from where they speak. So we'll broaden this debate and ask those important questions. Charu Pragya is the spokesperson of the BJP with us. Ravi Srivastava leans towards the Aam Aadmi Party. He's a political analyst. Nilanjan Das is also a political analyst. He leans towards the TMC. And my first question, Chandan, is to you. You're a professor at the IICC Bengaluru and you also leans towards the Congress. And we must tell our viewers that none of the INDIA alliance partners, whether it is the JDU, the RJD, the SP, the Aam Aadmi Party, none of them want to come and participate in this debate. I wonder why, because if they are feeling so embarrassed about this, Chandan, then why don't they act against Udyanidhi Stalin? I mean, in life and politics, you make mistakes and you can say, sorry, I did not understand that this is going to be, creating so much of a problem and so much of an uproar. I apologize for my comments and get away with it. But Chandan, why is the Congress not asking the DMK and Udyanidhi Stalin to apologize? And do you believe this is hate speech?
Deepthi, two quick responses. If we heard the Congress leaders that you just made us hear while before the show, it's very clear that there are people inside the party who have different positions on this matter, right? So it looks like the party is comfortable with allowing its individual members to think freely on this question. Second, when the Congress tied up with Shiv Sena or anybody else, they didn't impose any conditions on how their ideology should change. Instead, they spoke of a common minimum program, which is a pragmatic way of arriving at common ground while not agreeing with everything that the other party does or says. So I think we should let that be for now and focus on what precisely is it that is getting everybody agitated. Deepthi, I mean, I don't know if this is an answer to your question, but I think
Chandan,
in a coalition there are pragmatic tie-ups.
It's... But Chandan, I think I agree, in a coalition, that's the challenge, to get different parties together. But on core and on broad and such vital issues, that affect the majority of the country, and also speaking about the state of Tamil Nadu that has more than 86% Hindus, For Udyanidhi Stalin to make a comment like Sanatan Dharma is like malaria and dengue and it should not just be opposed but eradicated, how can the Congress just be okay with this? I mean, I still can't understand, or you believe that this is expected of the DMK, Chandan?
No. I didn't say. No, two things. I think what Venugopal said, if you take his statement to be the more important one, considering he's high up in the hierarchy, he said we believe in respecting all religions, and I think it's very clear where he stands on this matter. He's distancing himself from what Udayinidhi has said. Now, the second part of your observation, whether Udayinidhi should have spoken in that fashion, it's very clear. He's speaking at a progressive writers forum, and like I've been saying before on your channel yesterday, the DMK political rhetoric is something to be studied. It has evolved in its own fashion over the last 100 years. And what you heard now is something that has been heard before, said before. And I'm not saying it should be accepted now because it's been said before, but I'm saying the style of speaking, and we can't be literal in the way we hear it, understand it. If you notice, people are smiling, laughing, familiarity with the discourse. And this has been reflected in Tamil popular culture. Dravidian films were replete.
Charu does not agree with this, and I must say neither do I. You know, Chandan, I think the Congress is at pains right now to justify that comment. A quick counter by Charu before I come to both Nilanjan and
contextualizing it only.
Yes, Charu.
I'm contextualizing it only. Yeah.
Charu.
You shouldn't be just contextualizing it, you should be condemning it, and condemning it without any conditions attached. Unfortunately, neither you nor your leaders have done it. Unfortunately, none of the leaders of this Ghamandiya alliance have done it, and that is what pains me more. You know, one person actually committed a sin by bringing down our religion to a disease, and I cannot tell you how angry I am. I'm just not shouting right now because I've spent myself screaming and shouting about this the last 2 days. He can have an opinion which all of us dislike, but what is worse is that all of you are aligning behind him. That is what is worse. Now you call yourself a Mohabbat ki dukaan. Here you are supporting a man who continues to spread hate, who calls out for the eradication of us. I'm a Sanatani. Like
just for the record, I'm not part of the Congress.
He calls out for the eradication of us. He calls out for our genocide. And yes, you're right. This alliance does have a common minimum program. Your common minimum program comprises of corruption, parivarvad, and Hindu hate. That's about it. Because I have not heard anything coming out of that alliance which has made sense to me, because all you do is meet for photo ops. Deepti, I'm in a situation today where, no amount of expressing my grief and anger is enough. But I find a problem with all the people who are defending this. Now, it is so convenient for him to say, I'm just putting it in context for you to understand. What is Rahul Gandhi doing? When he needs votes of Hindus, he goes temple to temple, as does his sister. There is a Mamta Didi in Bengal who wants to attend Durga Pujas because she feels it might help her gain a few more votes. Every single person who's a part of this alliance today has either spoken out against Hindus, has either taken action which has directly impacted the lives of Hindus, or has supported people who are spewing hate like this. And it's just not hate. He's calling out for genocide. Let's not take this lying down. Also, DMK, since this government has come into power in Tamil Nadu, and I want to bring this to your attention, has been a government which has very actively propagated the bringing down of my religion. Actively. Over 250 temples have been demolished in the last 1 year alone. Many of these temples have been Prachin Mandirs, have been temples which are over 100 years old. I actually made out a list, and the latest one was the Muthanankulam temple by the lake. This whole temple was demolished under some guise or the other. Many idols have been vandalized. Has anybody spoken out against it? Anybody at all?
Yes, Charu, the only problem is we do not have a DMK representative on the panel, and this is a huge charge, and I wish we had a spokesperson from the DMK to also contest what you're saying, because all said and done, people need to know the reality.
Yes. Can I just wrap this up in 10 seconds?
Yes.
Can I wrap this up in 10 seconds? I'm again repeating this. What Stalin said is what Stalin said. But people who are shaking hands with Stalin are endorsing it by not condemning it. The very least you could have done was condemn it. You are afraid to even condemn it, and that's the worst part. You want votes from the people of this country.
And why is even a
yourself
condemnation
INDIA.
such a big
You
deal? I
akin
think, Charu, that's a
yourself
fair
to
point.
this nation, and you
absolutely, I agree.
Exactly.
Yes, that's
and
a fair
that,
point.
That hurts
Ravi,
me more. That
why
hurts
is
me
the
more.
Aam
Out of
Aadmi
these
Party
28 political parties,
yes,
leave aside
Ravi,
one.
Ravi,
what about the
why is the
27
Aam Aadmi
remaining
Party not saying we condemn this comment? Udyanidhi Stalin needs to apologize. He should take back his comments. He should be sacked. Ravi, why is that such a big deal? Or you agree with what he said? There can only be two situations, no, Ravi?
First of all, Aam Aadmi Party, whatever views they have got on it, they have to express themselves. I don't represent them. But as far as this issue is concerned, barring the crudity of the language of Udayanithi, I fully agree with whatever contention he has got, or whatever contest he has said it. I am asking the BJP representative. They were in alliance with the DMK. Absolutely. What they were DMK, they were in the alliance with the BJP. Why they were sleeping that time? Why would they not stop it? This is DMK's, madam, please.
Do you know what
this is DMK's ideology, and they have been representing it for last so many
let
years.
him complete his point. Then I'll come to you.
These things have been said by none other than the Shri Periyar, the Ambedkarji, and many leaders. These views have been expressed by not one, by several people. And the BJP should first look into their own house, the kind of comments made by that Kapil Mishra, that Pravesh Sinha, that Giriraj Singh, even
see, this is exactly, Ravi, what I was saying. You know, when we reported a story on rape, what do political parties say? My rape versus your rape. You're doing much the same on hate speech. My hate speech versus your hate speech. You know, Ravi, otherwise a party that speaks about Mohabbat ki dukaan can't look at selectively that this is the hate speech you would respond to and this is the hate speech you would not, Ravi.
What is so great about this Sanatan Dharma? Sanatan means constant. The constant is always a problem. So
why should the Aam Aadmi Party not take a stand? You know, in Gujarat, you speak about Lakshmi Ganesh on currency notes.
Deepti,
Arvind Kejriwal says Tirth Yatra pe le jayenge. He tries to be a more Hindutva party than the BJP. Today they can't take a stand on this.
You know, this is the person who wants to have a community.
I am giving my own opinion. What is so great about Sanatan Dharma? It has got all kind of a hatred towards the women. It has got untouchability.
So do you hate the Sanatan Dharma?
All those things.
Are you saying that you hate the Sanatan Dharma?
दूध पिलाते हैं बैठा करके all kind of superstitions and the bad things are there.
Ravi, pull back because you know I would just say do not get carried away, Ravi. This is national television. I'm not sure whether you're informed about the position you're taking, what you're saying, Ravi, and because you're saying no. 1 second. Let me also get it, Nilanjan. He hasn't spoken. Then Charu will want to counter you. Nilanjan, Mamata Banerjee earlier has released a comment. She says we believe in respect for all religions. Charu, I will come back to you. Let Nilanjan also make it point.
What kind of dharma is this?
No, Ravi, you should ask Arvind Kejriwal these questions first and then you can have a more informed debate. Okay, otherwise this becomes a Chunavi Hindutva kind of a debate, you know, much about a lot of these political parties who want to tom their Hindu allegiance close to elections, Ravi, but they forget about this the rest time of the year. Ravi, let Nilanjan also get into this conversation.
Genocide of the congressmen.
Okay.
What is that?
So you're defending Udyanidhi, na? That's okay.
No, he didn't.
You can say that I'm defending
genocide.
Udyanidhi. I stand with the comments he's made. Nilanjan.
Yes.
Isn't the DMK worsening its plight by defending Udyanidhi?
No, that's for the DMK to answer. I can't answer on behalf of the DMK, right? So I can tell you that you started the debate by saying that Mamata
But there is an
Banerjee
India alliance.
I am speaking on behalf of myself and as a supporter of the Trinamool Congress, I can tell you what the position of Mamata Banerjee is. You started off saying that she has distanced herself from this debate. It's not. She has clearly given out a statement to the PTI. You can go and look at it. First point, she clearly has said that it should be about inclusivity, and she has urged the friends of the DMK that they should, they should rethink on these lines. So her stand is absolutely clear. Let me talk about what the BJP spokesperson, madam, said here. She said that Mamata Banerjee visits Durga Puja for getting votes. I mean, this is what you are reducing the debate to? Do you have any kind of sensibility? Do you understand what Durga Puja is for Bengalis and for the people of Bengal? All Muslims also attend the Durga Puja pandals. What are you talking about? No, please don't interrupt me. You have hurt my sentiments. You have hurt my sentiments. You did say that.
Nilanjan,
Durga Puja
this is a clever tactic. This is a clever tactic.
No, this is not.
You want to make up another issue.
You will let me finish.
Yes, this is called whataboutery. Classic example, Nilanjan, of whataboutery. And only because you mentioned about Mamata Banerjee and you said I do not know what she has said to PTI. Charu, let me ask him a very pointed question because people should now know what Mamata Banerjee has said. I'm quoting her exact, bite that has come into PTI. She says every religion has a separate sentiment. She says, Nilanjan, India is about unity in diversity, which is our origin. We should not be involved in any matter which might hurt a section of the people, says the West Bengal Chief Minister, amidst the controversy over the DMK leader's comment. Not a word against Udyanidhi Stalin. Why is it so difficult for Didi to say what he has said is wrong? I do not stand with this comment. He must apologize.
I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. I don't want to teach you journalism, but you are uninformed. You should go and watch the entire video. Point number one.
Okay.
Next point. I think whatever Mr.
Did she name Udyanidhi Stalin?
Has said, I do not accept it. Yes, there are many social evils, and Bengal, since I come from the land of Bengal, Bengal has shown many ways. We have had the Brahmo Samaj, we have had Chaitanya, we have had
So does she believe Udyanidhi Stalin? Nilanjan must apologize. He needs to be sacked for those comments, and this is about hate speech. Because if you're telling me that Mamata is the votary of freedom of speech, expression, religion, she must stand up against this.
He represents a Dravidian ideology which is against this Sanatani, which is of this North Indian concept of Sanatan Dharma. I think they have a problem with that. That is their ideology.
That is the problem. You want to divide people, North versus South. Charu?
Sanatan is North Indian.
Charu, I mean, is it okay? Is it okay to take that? Charu, last word to Charu.
Charu must answer.
Can I speak now, please?
I just heard. No,
can I, on this debate, I don't want to have anybody else speak over me. You've already
you have raised a charge.
You've already finished.
Let her respond.
Nilanjan, you're done. Nilanjan, either you mute his voice, Deepti, because this is
Nilanjan, exactly what I said. This is the hypocrisy. This is the hypocrisy of the political parties who the moment are shown the mirror.
Can I speak now, please?
Yes, you don't see yourself in that mirror, but you want to point fingers at everyone else, Nilanjan. There is no morality anymore. I am giving the last word to Charu. You raised charges against her. Let her respond, please. Nilanjan.
I'd like to speak when others keep quiet.
She must apologize for casting aspersions on Mamata Banerjee. She doesn't visit Durga Puja for Hindu votes.
Charu, do not deflect the debate, Nilanjan. We have limited time. And only because you have raised charges against Charu, I should allow her to respond quickly. 10 seconds, Charu.
She must apologize.
Charu, 10 seconds to you. The last one to you, Charu.
You need to mute him or ask him to keep quiet. Thank you very much. So, thank you for proving to the world that you can take offense at my statement, a very genuine one, but you do not take offense at what Stalin said. Now that is where you expose yourself. And also, I want to remind you that for thousands of years, people like you have tried to destroy Sanatan Dharma. They have failed, as you will. You believe in dividing people, and India, the real India, Bharat, is not going to stand for that. It is shameful. It is shameful what Udyanidhi did, but what you are doing today is worse. It's even more shameful.
It is worse. Exactly, Charu, what I said. It can't become my hate speech versus your hate speech only for what of time, Nilanjan. But we'll allow your intervention the next time we are debating this. I need to thank Charu and all gentlemen for joining us. Quickly heading into a break. On the other side, we are back with lots more.
The top-ranked Amity BTech attracts some of the most brilliant students of India who get global exposure at the 5-week study abroad program at Amity's global campuses at no additional tuition fee. To apply, visit amity.edu.
Now, as the Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi has called for a special session of the Parliament on the 18th of September till the 22nd, Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge has called for a special session of the Alliance Party leaders at his residence tomorrow at the Rajaji Marg in the national capital. As per sources, the opposition leaders will deliberate on and decide their strategy for the upcoming special session that would be held from the 18th till the 22nd of September.
There is a mega huddle in opposition ahead of Parliament's special session. Days after the announcement of special Parliament session from September 18 to 22, Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge has called a meeting on I.N.D.I.A block MPs on September 5. According to sources, the I.N.D.I.A block leaders will decide their strategy for the upcoming parliamentary session. The meeting comes amid the massive face-off over centre's One Nation, One Poll push. With Adhir Ranjan refusing to be a part of the 8-member committee, and Rahul Gandhi's attempt to fearmonger over One Nation, One Poll. But they have gotten it back from the BJP.
This dotted existence, they do not represent India. These roadblocks, this incomprehension is by the dotted existence of I.N.D.I.A. So this dotted existence cannot comprehend what India stands for, what India is.
Given the fact that the centre has formed 8-member panel to explore the possibility of One Nation, One Poll, all eyes will be on the developments this week ahead of the Parliament session. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
The Union Home Minister Amit Shah launched, in fact, sounded the poll bugle in poll-bound Rajasthan. He launched a blistering attack on the opposition bloc over the Sanatan Dharma insult by Udayanidhi Stalin. The Union Home Minister said that the people of the country will not forgive the opposition bloc for the Sanatan Dharma insult and that it will have a bearing on the 2024 general elections.
Union Home Minister launched BJP's Parivartan Yatra in poll-bound Rajasthan. On the occasion, Shah addressed a public rally at Bineshwar Dham in Dungarpur district in Rajasthan. Home Minister Amit Shah lashed out at the opposition I.N.D.I.A parties over remarks against Sanatan Dharma, accusing them of insulting Sanatan Dharma for vote bank and appeasement politics.
की संस्कृति का, इस देश के इतिहास का, सनातन धर्म का अपमान कर रहे हैं। इंडी अलायंस के दो प्रमुख दल डीएमके और कांग्रेस पार्टी, इनके बड़े नेता, एक वित्त मंत्री का बेटा और एक मुख्यमंत्री का बेटा, वो कह रहे हैं सनातन धर्म को समाप्त कर देना चाहिए। मुझे बताओ भाई, सनातन धर्म को समाप्त करने के लिए आप तैयार हो क्या? अरे जोर से बोलो, तैयार हो क्या? माताएं बहनें भी बोले तैयार है क्या? इन लोगों ने वोट बैंक की और तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति करने के लिए सनातन धर्म को समाप्त करने की बात की है। हमारी संस्कृति, हमारे इतिहास और सनातन धर्म का अपमान किया है।
He also accused Congress leader Rahul Gandhi of calling Hindu organization more dangerous than the Lashkar-e-Taiba.
उनके एक राजकुमार राहुल बाबा, जानते हो ना राहुल बाबा, जानते हो ना, उन्होंने कहा, ध्यान से सुनिएगा, हिसाब मांगना है राहुल बाबा का। उन्होंने कहा कि जो हिंदू संगठन है ये लश्कर-ए तोयबा से भी खतरनाक है।
Shah also dubbed the I.N.D.I.A bloc as a Ghamandiya Gathbandhan and said the alliance can go to any extent for vote bank politics. On the Ram Temple issue, he alleged that the Congress blocked the temple for years but after the Supreme Court order.
Stalin Jr. attacks, Congress endorses. BJP asks, is Hindu hate INDIA agenda? Is being anti-Sanatan prerequisite in opposition alliance? Arnab debates at 9 p.m. Accused of creating more tension in Manipur. FIR filed against Editors Guild of India. Tech fog to Manipur. Is there a Lutyens' shield to fake news? Arnab debates at 10 p.m.
Nobody can ever trouble an honest journalist. Nobody can ever trouble an honest media house. We are destined for success. Every moment from now on, I want everyone in the Digvijay newsroom to always remember that you must be wedded to the cause of news. Thank you very much, Anand, for having us here and for letting us take the journey forward.
Stalin Jr. attacks, Congress endorses. BJP asks, is Hindu hate INDIA agenda? Is being anti-Sanatan prerequisite in opposition alliance? Arnab debates at 9 p.m. Trending burning question, powered by Reva University and Century Ply Laminates.
Hello and welcome. You're watching the Trending Burning Question with me, Shavin Sen. Ladies and gentlemen, Russia has objected to China's claim over the Russian territory in a new map that was published last week. With this, Russia essentially becomes the 8th country to register the protest against China's map release. This is not the first time that China has essentially done this, which they've always been calling it, that this is a routine effort. In fact, they call this a standard map, but this time, what is important to point out here is that not just India that has registered their protest, but there are 8 countries in total who have voiced their opinion on this entire matter. What's the strategy really behind this? And does it really go beyond the two-dimensional aspect of a map and the ramifications it has on the ground? Take a look at this report and then we begin the Trending Burning Question.
Days after China's map revocation, Russia has objected to China map. Russia is the 8th country to raise objections to China's map that shows territorial claims. Earlier, Nepal was the latest nation to join the clamour over China map provocation. So much so that Kathmandu mayor even cancelled his visit to China. Aksai Chin, Ladakh, Arunachal Pradesh, India, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Taiwan have also made their stand firm by opposing the territorial claims made by China. The Russian Foreign Ministry has rejected China's apparent claim of ownership over a disputed island that has been a source of tension between Russia and China for decades. Speaking on the territorial claim on the dispute area, The Russian Foreign Ministry said that the disputed land area had been settled by bilateral agreements more than 15 years ago. China's map touches on multiple territorial disputes. Among them include an island area which sits at the confluence of the two rivers that separate Russia and China. In a statement published on the Foreign Ministry website, Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson cited 2005 agreement on the Russian-Chinese state border on its eastern part. According to the 2005 pact, the delimitation and demarcation of our common border has been completed along its entire length. While Russia has made its position clear, remains to be seen if the country's unexpected stand against its long-time ally could have any bearing on the ties between the two nations. Agency Report, Republic TV.
Well, in fact, ladies and gentlemen, China's response was unrelenting. In fact, they have called this a routine event. They said that the countries that are objecting right now should essentially view this, and I quote, objective and rational light. In fact, they've basically told the countries to stay calm. Now, important to point this out that not just India, protests have come in from Vietnam, Malaysia, Philippines, Taiwan, as essentially China has claimed 90% of the South China Sea and a 10-line dash south of its Hainan Island that essentially cuts into the exclusive economic zone of Vietnam, Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, as well as Indonesia. Joining us on this trending burning question is Ambassador Ashok Sajjanar, Dr. Roger Liu from Taiwan, and Dr. Zigon. She's going to join us from Russia. First, let me come across to you, Ambassador Sajjanar. This is not the first time. Let's be very clear about it. For years put together, they call this as a standard map rather. But what is important to point out here is that a belligerent China now wants to take on almost every. Ambassador Sajjanar, can you hear me? Ambassador Sajjanar, can you hear me? We'll try and just reconnect with him. Ambassador Sajjanar, the question that I was trying to ask you, if you can hear me. We'll just try and reconnect with Ambassador Sajjanar as well as Dr. Liu, if you can hear me, am I audible? Okay, we seem to be having some problem with Dr. Liu too. Ambassador Sajjanar, let me just once again try asking this question. We seem to be having a problem with the audio line with Ambassador Sajjanar. While we try and fix those lines, let me just once again put this into context for all of you who are joining in right now. Now, as far as China is concerned, remember this is part of what they call a three-side warfare that they've carried out, be it the psychological warfare or for that matter even the legal warfare that they have essentially taken up. What's important to point out here is that this time you are essentially looking at countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, Philippines, Brunei, Indonesia all coming out in the open and essentially saying that look here, there were agreements that were put into place. For instance, take what Russia essentially has to say. Russia says that 15 years back, there was a settlement that was brought into the picture. They've been able to settle the border dispute. There were agreements in place, similar to what we have seen as far as India is concerned. Remember, there have been several agreements that have been put in place, but despite that, China has time and again objected it and in fact flouted those very agreements that they have signed with India. Let me just quickly go back to Ambassador Sajjanar. Ambassador Sajjanar, 90% of the South China Sea is essentially what China claims is part of their land. They've cut into the exclusive economic zone of not just Taiwan but also Vietnam, Philippines, Malaysia, and you name it. Fact of the matter is that this comes just days after he's met Prime Minister Modi. And then you also have the G20 summit. Can that be seen as some sort of a pattern, keeping in mind that China appears to be a little nervous, keeping in mind the kind of pressure that has come in from the Western bloc?
Yes, partly. Thank you very much for having me on your show, and my apologies, I couldn't hear you earlier. That's why, I couldn't respond to the question that you might have asked. But yes, you're very right. It's meaning we in India, of course, are extremely upset with what China has done as far as putting all the 93,000 square kilometers of Arunachal Pradesh as South Tibet in its own territory, and the 38,000 square kilometers of Aksai Chin, which it illegally seized in 1962. So we are very upset, but China has been, in that sense, I would say, with tongue-in-cheek, non-discriminatory in its approach. As you said, it has taken possession of in its map of 90% of the 3.9 million square kilometers of South China Sea. And that takes, the economic zone, exclusive economic zone of many countries in Southeast Asia. You mentioned them all, whether it is Vietnam, whether it is Philippines, it is Malaysia, it is Indonesia, and of course, Nepal and Russia also. I think basically it is, the reason that you mentioned, that it is the pressure from the West, and one of the reasons that is being cited why Xi Jinping is not coming to Delhi is because maybe he didn't want to have an interaction with President Joe Biden or with Prime Minister Modi, because he is uncertain, unsure of his position. And one of the reasons for that would be because of the domestic situation, of the fragile domestic economic situation. The economy is not doing well at all. As far as its real estate sector is concerned, that is under tremendous stress. There have been huge protests by the youth of the country. Then even as far as its armed forces are concerned, its rocket forces are concerned, that is also not doing too well. So I think there are lots of worries as far as China is concerned on its domestic front. And maybe to send out a message to its domestic constituency that it is still a very preeminent, important power. It issues this map saying that we can claim all this land and all these water bodies. But of course, maybe they did not expect the reaction and the repercussions, which I'm sure have not been to their liking. My last point that I'd like to make is, I think it is quite absurd when India protested against this, and China says that you should play it cool, you should not over-interpret, you should not overreact, which means that another country, if India were to issue a map showing very significant parts of China as its own territory, then China is not going to react. Meaning this is absolutely, I find it quite ridiculous, because you would recall that in 2019, when India issued a map without any change in its external boundaries after the 5th August 2019 decision of doing away with Article 370 and 35A, then China had reacted in a very vitriolic and aggressive manner. So, when some other country issues a map which it is fully within its right without affecting the external boundary, China reacts in such an aggressive manner. But on its own map, right, it expects the others not to say anything. Thank you.
Ambassador, just before we try and go across to our guest from Taiwan and Russia, we seem to be having some problem with their audio line. We'll try and fix that. Let me just quickly take one more question with you. Many would be wondering that why should we really be bothered about what exactly China has to do when it comes to their map making exercise? Now, there is a contrarian view to that, and that is that today a map perhaps cannot be seen in just a two-dimensional paper line, but rather it's a reflection of a country's imagination of its own boundaries, or for that matter their intentions. And China under Xi Jinping has become far more aggressive than what it was perhaps years before. And that is exactly why many would say that perhaps this exercise becomes extremely crucial for the world to take cognizance of. Ambassador.
Is it to me? Is the question to me?
Ambassador Sajjana, can you hear me? Yeah, that question is for you.
Is the question posed to me?
Yes, Ambassador Sajjana, that question is for you.
Okay. Yes, you're very right when you say that.
Ambassador Sajjana, can you hear me?
It is.
Ambassador Sajjana, that question was for you. We'll just try and reconnect with Ambassador Sajjana in a short while from now. We seem to be having some problem with the audio line of our guests tonight. But having said that, as Ambassador Sajjana was also pointing out, that when India actually had put out a map that was just post the abrogation of Article 370, China was perhaps up in arms. And at that point in time, they were fuming because they believed that this was done in a unilateral manner. But having said that, not one, but 8 countries today have essentially lodged their strong protest, since they believe that China has done this only to provoke its own neighbors. Slipping into a short break. On the other side, we continue with the trending burning question.
The Union Home Minister Amit Shah launched, in fact, sounded the poll bugle in poll-bound Rajasthan. He launched a blistering attack on the opposition bloc over the Sanatan Dharma insult by Udayanidhi Stalin. The Union Home Minister said that the people of the country will not forgive the opposition bloc for the Sanatan Dharma insult and that it will have a bearing on the 2024 general elections.
Union Home Minister launched BJP's Parivartan Yatra in poll-bound Rajasthan. On the occasion, Shah addressed a public rally at Bineshwar Dham in Dungarpur district in Rajasthan. Home Minister Amit Shah lashed out at the opposition I.N.D.I.A parties over remarks against Sanatan Dharma, accusing them of insulting Sanatan Dharma for vote bank and appeasement politics.
की संस्कृति का, इस देश का, इतिहास का, सनातन धर्म का अपमान कर रहे हैं। इंडी अलायंस के 2 प्रमुख दल डीएमके और कांग्रेस पार्टी, इनके बड़े नेता, एक वित्त मंत्री का बेटा और एक मुख्यमंत्री का बेटा, वो कह रहे हैं सनातन धर्म को समाप्त कर देना चाहिए। मुझे बताओ भाई, सनातन धर्म को समाप्त करने के लिए आप तैयार हो क्या? अरे जोर से बोलो, तैयार हो क्या? माताएं बहनें भी बोले तैयार है क्या? इन लोगों ने वोट बैंक की और तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति करने के लिए सनातन धर्म को समाप्त करने की बात की है। हमारी संस्कृति, हमारे इतिहास और सनातन धर्म का अपमान किया है।
He also accused Congress leader Rahul Gandhi of calling Hindu organization more dangerous than the Lashkar-e-Taiba.
उनके एक राजकुमार राहुल बाबा, जानते हो ना राहुल बाबा, जानते हो ना, उन्होंने कहा, ध्यान से सुनिएगा, हिसाब मांगना है राहुल बाबा का। उन्होंने कहा कि जो हिंदू संगठन है ये लश्कर-ए-तोयबा से भी खतरनाक है।
Shah also dubbed the I.N.D.I.A bloc as a Ghamandiya Gathbandhan and said the alliance can go to any extent for vote bank politics. On the Ram temple issue, he alleged that the Congress blocked the temple for years, but after the Supreme Court order.
घमंडिया गठबंधन जो है, ये इंडी अलायंस जो है,
Stalin Jr. attacks, Congress endorses. BJP asks, is Hindu hate INDIA agenda? Is being anti-Sanatan prerequisite in opposition alliance? Arnab debates at 9 p.m. Accused of creating more tension in Manipur. FIR filed against Editors Guild of India. Tech fog to Manipur. Is there a Lutyens' shield to fake news? Arnab debates at 10 p.m.
A massive protest have been in fact called out by the Maratha community people across the state of Maharashtra. In several districts of Maharashtra, they have been band been called by Maratha community people. And as you see, I'm reporting live from Sambhaji Nagar's Kranti Chowk, wherein Uddhav Thackeray faction party workers are in fact supporting the protest of Maratha community, and in fact they are also supporting the demands of Maratha community people. We'll try to get few reactions out here. आपसे जानना चाहेंगे, आप लोग प्रदर्शन कर रहे हैं, क्या कुछ मांगे हैं आपकी?
ये मराठा आरक्षण के लिए आंदोलन किया गया था और पुलिस लोगों ने महिला के ऊपर जो अत्याचार करे, इसे वो हम सब यहाँ निषेध कर रहे हैं उनका।
एक सवाल आपसे, आप लोगों से सवाल लेंगे, जिस प्रकार से मराठा कम्युनिटी की डिमांड है, 2 दिन में उन लोगों ने जो है रिजर्वेशन मांगी, उसको लेकर के क्या कहें?
अभी ये जो आंदोलन है मराठा आरक्षण का, ये कई दिनों से चल रहा है। ये सरकार से चाल दखल कर रही है, टाइम निकालने का काम कर रही है और संविधान रीति से, लोकशाही दृष्टि से ये मराठा लोग।
As we see, there are complaints from people. Chandrakant Khaire, the Uddhav Thackeray faction former MP, is with us. जिस प्रकार से आप लोग आंदोलन कर रहे हैं, डिमांड्स क्या हैं आप लोगों की?
एक प्रकार की ये चीड़ निर्माण हुई है और मैं ये कहूँगा आपको कि बहुत लोग इसमें बहुत नाराज हैं, छिड़े हुए हैं। जिस प्रकार से महिलाओं के ऊपर अन्याय अत्याचार होकर लाठीचार्ज किया, हमने जाके देखा उस पर। मैं उद्धव जी के साथ में, उद्धव जी ने पूरा सबकी पूछताछ की और मनोज के साथ भी बात की। और ये ऐसा होने के बाद में इतने दिन से उपोषण करना, ये सरकार कुछ नहीं करता है। ये मुख्यमंत्री, उप मुख्यमंत्री, इनको सबको हकलना पाहिजे। अगर नहीं हकले तो मतलब नहीं।
2017 Republic TV. 2019 Republic Bharat. 2021 Republic Bangla. 2023 Republic Kannada, coming soon on India's largest news network.
Stalin Jr. attacks, Congress endorses. BJP asks, is Hindu hate INDIA agenda? Is being anti-Sanatan prerequisite in opposition alliance? Arnab debates at 9 p.m.